We've had a statement from the Duke of Cambridge, Prince William, paying tribute to his grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh. In the statement, he said, "My grandfather's century of life was defined by service to his country and Commonwealth, to his wife and Queen, and to our family. I feel lucky to have had not just had his example to guide me, but his enduring presence well into my own adult life, both through good times and the hardest days. I will always be grateful that my wife had so many years to get to know my grandfather and for the kindness he showed her. I will never take for granted the special memories my children will always have of their great-grandpa coming to collect them in his carriage and seeing for themselves his infectious sense of adventure as well as his mischievous sense of humour. My grandfather was an extraordinary man and part of an extraordinary generation. Catherine and I will continue to do what he would have wanted and will support the Queen in the years ahead. I miss my grandpa, but I know he would want us to get on with the job." Let's go to our royal correspondent, Rhiannon Mills, who's in Windsor for us now. A deeply personal statement there from the Duke of Cambridge following the death of his grandpa.
It is, and I think we anticipated that we were likely to hear from the Duke of Edinburgh's grandchildren at some point today. After all, over the weekend, we heard from his 4 children paying their own tributes, talking about that significant loss, the void in the Queen's life that there now is following the death of Prince Philip. And now, yes, we are starting to hear the tributes from his grandchildren. Accompanying that statement, there was also released a photograph showing the Duke of Edinburgh sitting on a carriage, because we know he was keen, very keen on his carriage driving. He actually drew up the international rule book for carriage driving, and sitting alongside him is a little Prince George. And so a very touching photograph that Prince William and Kate have decided to release alongside that statement. But I think if we look at some of the things that he had to say, reflecting on the fact that his grandfather's century of life was defined, as he says, by service to the country, the Commonwealth, to the Queen, and also our family. Talking about how he feels lucky that he had his example to guide him, that his enduring presence well into his adult life, both through good times and the hardest days. And of course, that does make us think back to the fact that it was Prince Philip who encouraged Prince William to walk behind Princess Diana's coffin during those very difficult days back in 1997, when the country mourned the death of the Princess of Wales. He also says, "I will never take for granted the special memories that my children will always have of their great-grandpa coming to collect them in his carriage." And of course, we have seen that photograph that that's been released. But also, I think it's really wonderful to hear Prince William there talking about the Duke's infectious sense of adventure, as well as his mischievous sense of humour. And I think what really stands out to me is the final sentence in that statement, where he says, "I know he would want us to get on with the job." And I think that's what we're going to see from the royal family this week, and certainly in the weeks ahead, following the funeral on Saturday. I anticipate that, yes, they will go into that. They are now in this 2-week period of mourning, but we have been told that there will still be some engagements where it is deemed to be appropriate. And also for the royal family as well, very important to come out and pay their thanks to all the members of the public who've been paying their tributes, and I think share this moment with the country and people around the world.